It's time now for us to talk about Defender for Cloud Apps. Now, the first thing to be aware of, if you ever come across any older documentation on this used to be called Cloud App Security. So don't be surprised if you see some older references out there on the internet regarding this. They changed the name a while back to Defender for Cloud Apps. So what is Defender for Cloud Apps? Well, if you've ever heard of a cloud access security broker, then it's a similar concept to that. Although some cloud access security brokers are physical devices that you hook up to your network, and the idea is to control the types of activities that can be involved in the cloud and the places people can go. Well, Defender for Cloud Apps is not a appliance or piece of hardware that you hook into your company's network. What it does is it can interact with the client computers that you have on premise. So your Windows client computers can interact with this cloud access security broker service known as Defender for Cloud Apps. All right, and from there it can generate log data. It can communicate with your applications. It can communicate with things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It can monitor the activities that a user is performing out on the web. It can also monitor the websites users are going to. So this can definitely prevent things like shadow IT. If you're not familiar with shadow IT, the concept of shadow IT is where users sort of just take matters into their own hands and they go to places that maybe they're not supposed to go. For example, if your company was wanting users to use OneDrive for file storage, and maybe that's the only place you want users storing files and maybe backing up files and things like that, but then you find out that users are also using personal Dropbox accounts. Well, this can prevent that sort of thing. This can also let you know if users are doing that. Okay, so this is going to provide some control over data, where data is going, where if people are writing to pieces of information out on the cloud, it's going to generate logging data for that. It's going to let us know what's going on. It's going to let us know if there's any kind of violations. It can also act as what's called a reverse proxy. So if somebody goes to, like, let's say that you have put policies in place that restricts somebody from maybe sharing a file, a certain type of file, using their OneDrive for Business account, but somebody has a personal OneDrive account that maybe they try to log on to from the office. However, what will happen is Defender for Cloud Apps will not let them log on to a personal personal OneDrive account. It'll force them to log on to their OneDrive for Business. Okay, so they wouldn't be able to use that personal side of things. They'd have to use that business account. So Defender for Cloud Apps, the framework is a very specifically designed to try to stop this problem I was just describing, which is shadow IT. Okay, one of the things that Defender for Cloud Apps can do is it can do a discovery, and it can discover all the different websites and applications based on logging data that users are going to. There are over 16,000 software as a service apps that it has the ability to detect. These involve the different websites and applications that users are using, and the different risks that are involved there. All right. It has the ability to work with the compliance side of the Microsoft 365 environment as well. So when you start getting into compliance policies, Defender for Cloud Apps works hand in hand with that to make sure that no compliance issues have been created. All right. It also looks at sensitive information. It tries to look to see what users are using and if that information is classified. So when you start getting into classification, sensitivity labels, and all of that, it works hand in hand with that. So it can know if somebody's looking at a sensitive document, if it's got credit card information in it, social security number. If you're in the medical industry, HIPAA compliance information. It works hand in hand with all of that to try to know whether or not somebody is using these sensitive files and what they're doing with this sensitive information. It has the ability to generate logging data. It also can generate alerts, so admins can be alerted if something is going on. It also protects against cyber threats and anomalies. So it can do, it looks at the behavior So it works hand in hand with our client operating systems that our users are using to see what the latest and greatest threats are, and their operating systems can actually alert the Defender for Cloud apps on whether or not that's going on. It's kind of funny when you think about like a client operating system is kind of watching a user and spying on a user. Well, it kind of is. When you've got your client operating systems linked into the cloud and you're supporting cloud apps, Defender for Cloud apps, it actually has the ability to look to see what activities they're performing and generate alerts and reports and all that involving it. So, and then of course the last thing mentioned here is again the compliance side of things with cloud apps. It works hand in hand with knowing the regulatory compliance industry standards. So again, if you're working in like the payment card industry and you're under the PCI DSS, the payment card industry data security standards, or HIPAA for the medical world, if you're dealing with federal government, whatever it may be, you got PII, personal identifiable information, or PHI, private health information, whatever it may be. This Defender for Cloud apps is going to meet all the regulatory standards and be able to detect what's going on. So the other thing is it integrates visibility with your cloud by doing the following things. Cloud discovery, again, identifying and mapping out the different applications, both the on-premise apps maybe that are installed on a user's machine, but also the web-based applications that users are using, and can tell you if you have sanctioned or unsanctioned apps. So apps that are allowed, not allowed, and you even have what are called app connectors. So you can have applications that are connected, such as maybe your company, I mentioned OneDrive earlier, I also mentioned Dropbox earlier. Maybe your company is allowing Dropbox. You can have an app connector with Dropbox. And just like the OneDrive scenario, maybe you've got a Dropbox business account and you don't want users using a personal account. Well, you can do that. You can actually prevent somebody on their machine, if the machine is linked to Microsoft 365 and Azure, you can prevent them from being able to log on to like a personal account. You've also got conditional access app control. So you got you can see what apps users are actually using, and you can control certain activities. For example, again, if a document has been detected to have sensitive information and you want to prevent a user from being able to share that information with somebody outside of your environment, that's all doable because this all works hand in hand with the Compliance Center of Microsoft 365. So you have policies that you'll be able to put in place to try to fine-tune the things that are going on. So here's sort of a visual look at the architecture. As you can see there, you've got your organization from any location. They mentioned that down at the bottom of this little diagram here. Whether they're using a desktop computer, a laptop computer, a smartphone, tablet, whatever it may be, those devices can send information into Defender for Cloud apps. Now, you also may have on-premise devices, firewalls, and proxies. Defender for Cloud apps supports a lot of the common industry standard firewall and proxy appliance devices, and they can send logging data into Defender for Cloud apps as well. So you can actually connect those devices into Defender for Cloud apps. There's actually scripts that Microsoft has created for a lot of the hardware out there that will allow those devices to work hand in hand with it. And if you have some older devices that aren't supported, usually what you can do is export logging data and send it into and import it into Defender for Cloud apps, and it can still generate logging data involving it's a little bit more manual process, but there's also the ability to create scripts that can help you. All right, and so these devices, whether they are going on premise through the firewalls or proxies, or whether somebody takes them off premise and they're not going through your on premise firewalls and proxies, those devices can also send cloud app data into Defender for Cloud apps as well. Either way, Defender for Cloud apps can be in the loop on what people are doing. And, you know, from there, you have what are called app connectors, again, that connect the Defender for Cloud apps to the web apps that are out there. You have cloud discovery to discover what people are using. And you have the proxy access session services, which again, you can have policies that are put in place that can prevent users from doing certain things that maybe they're not supposed to do. So speaking of policy control there, the policies can essentially prevent users from performing activities that they're not supposed to do. The policies can also detect if users are doing things like risky behavior, some kind of a violation, or if suspicious data points and activities are discovered in the environment. It can generate alerts and reporting data. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can use policies for remediation. So this gets into trying to lessen some of the threats that are out there, or lessen the impact. This tries to improve your security posture overall, meaning, bring your security posture being something that has to be maintained over time and improved, meaning you stay on top of the security, and try to mitigate the threats, or mitigation meaning lessen the impact of some of these threats that are out there. Okay, so there's different types of policies as well that are going to gather certain types of information, and you can put these remediations in place to try to strengthen the defenses of your environment. Okay, so all in all, I think you'll find that Defender for Cloud Apps is a very powerful set of tools and services that can really, really improve and strengthen your overall defenses regarding security and shadow IT and the applications you're using, and protecting your data, and really help with remediating the threats that are in your environment.